Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Positosis Podcast. My name is Chris Toledo. Today's episode is sponsored by O'Reilly's. Hey, they got everything for anybody out there, any of you Positosis players that are out there. If you got a car and your car needs something, even if your car doesn't need something, O'Reilly's is the spot. Today's episode is sponsored once again by our peoples over there at O'Reilly's. Go check them out. Go tell them what's up. Tell them that the Positosis Podcast sent you over. Today's topic, today's theme, the energy of positosis. Positosis is energy. 75% of everything is energy. I don't have to be sweet like that, but I got to bring that energy. The Positosis Podcast is an episodic podcast. That means that you can go to any episode and listen to the podcast in any numerical order. We don't necessarily build one on top of the other. I just kick it around, and sometimes it's even better just to randomly choose an episode, just hit whatever, and that's going to be the message that you need to hear for that day. In that, I totally believe. What is positosis? Positosis is a lifestyle choice, is a concept, a philosophy to focus on the positive. Positosis is a state of being, has its own rhythm, cadence, and flow. Positosis takes time and renews energy. It requires a solid quality effort, and it's directly located in the center. Get this, listen to me, folks. It's directly located in the center of your sweet spot. Has it ever happened? Like, oh man, that hit the sweet spot. So that sweet spot is where your positosis is located. Positosis is a way to transform any and everything into a positive by consciously installing positive filters into how you receive information. Let me say that again. Positosis is a way to transform any and everything into a positive by consciously installing positive filters into how you receive information. Positosis does not suggest that everything is perfect 100% of the time. Positosis is a way to live on the positive side of life. Glass is not half full. It's filled to the brim with optimism, compassion, and feel good. Pre-positosis is going into feeling good, being prepared. Positosis is the presence of positosis. Post-positosis is the reward you get from positosis. The mantra, the tantra, positosis is the mostest, positosis by osmosis. Some of you out there might be going, okay, I don't know what the studies are, but there's like thousands, hundreds of thousands of podcasts. So, CT Chris Toledo, the lead positosis player. Why should I tune in? Why tune in? Good question. Tune in to feel good. Tune in to transform all of life's experiences into usable fuel for forward movement, to come into every day with a positive attitude. All right, well, cool. Hey, that sounds good. So, like, what's the thing? What's the dealio, homie? How we do it? Jumping with both feet. Getting started is more important than being perfect. Why am I starting a Positosis podcast? Why am I starting a podcast? To have an in-depth storytelling forum. I want to be able to tell you some stories. I want to get better at telling stories. I want to grow this Positosis podcast into a podcast that millions of people tune into. Right now, I don't even know if I have single or double digits. I don't even know how many people tune in. But you know what? The goal is millions. And you know what? Together, with your help, we're going to get there. This is going to be proof positive that dreams do come true. To provide thought-provoking content on topics occurring in the wellness, self-improvement world. The wellness, self-improvement, you know what? I've dabbled in there with a company out of the Big Apple, and you know what? Like, I just feel like wellness is not one of them things that needs to be boxed up into a box. I'm sorry, all you wellness professionals out there. To promote positosis, positive thinking. That's the main hook behind this, just to promote it. Like to give it a funny, catchy name, something that you can grab a hold of. To fill a niche that I create. I'm creating this niche. I'm not trying to get into anybody else's box. I'm creating my own box, and I'm going to crawl into it. I'm inviting you all to come into the box with me. To offer tangible action steps to train and retrain your brain to scan for the positive first. To creatively challenge myself. To spread my unique spin on being positive. Okay. That's enough reasons why I'm starting this podcast. I've committed throughout this trial and error, there you go. That's another positosis thing. Like sometimes when you're talking, including positosis podcast hosts, sometimes you get a little mixed up. So the positosis part of me just says, dude, those little times when you're stuttering, when you don't really know what to say next, embrace them. Embrace all those moments that you feel like an outcast. Outcast, spelled O-U-T-C-A-S-T, outcast. And the idea about being an outcast, like those moments that I stutter, that I don't know exactly what I'm going to say next, and it doesn't sound really polished. The objective is to take all those moments that I felt like an outcast. And you that are listening out there, have you ever felt like an outcast? Ever in your life? Where you feel like you just don't belong. Like everybody is doing it this way and I just can't relate. Well, the idea, the objective is to transform all those moments that you felt like an outcast. And in my life, there have been plenty of those times into my most prized possession. Into the thing when I reflect on my life and when I'm speaking about my life, those moments that I felt like an outcast, those are my most prized possessions. The big successes, being on television, traveling around the world, playing professional basketball, going to college on a basketball scholarship, those are all super cool and super proud of those moments. But the most prized possession is the time that I felt like I didn't belong. Positosis is about being positive, training and retraining your brain to scan for the positive first. Tangible tools to get your mindset into the jet stream of positosis. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, that's side A. Now we're going to the B side, to the keep it real side, keep it 100 side. If you've ever heard, if this is not your first episode that you've listened to, you know that we have a main theme, we have side A, and we have side B. And side B is keeping it real. And side B lets you know that because you have chosen the path of positosis does not mean that everything is perfect 100% of the time. That does not mean that I, as the positosis player, first team ALL-POSITOSIS, does not mean that I thrive every single moment of my life in positosis. That's the goal. That's the objective. But the keep it real side is sometimes me, just like everybody else, sometimes we fall into habits that aren't exactly positive. Sometimes we do not focus on the positive. I've talked about this recently in one of my recent episodes, but I was in a relationship with a woman, and back in the day, a couple things happened that weren't exactly positive that really, really hurt my feelings. Like really hurt my feelings. And from that moment, I noticed that slowly over the course of time, I started focusing on what was wrong in the relationship. And then I started focusing on what she did wrong, as opposed to focusing on the radiant beauty that she was. Instead of focusing on all the 5,000 wonderful things that she has done, that she did for me, I was focusing on those 3 or 4 things that happened that weren't really that cool. And so side B is probably even more valuable than side A, because side B is like living in the real world. So positosis is a way to align yourself back with with your choices. So how do you do it? Well, you just get back. You just draw a line of saying, that's it, yo, that's it. Like, I don't want to be that guy. I don't want to be that negative influence on anybody's life. I want to get back on the first Team ALL-POSITOSIS team. So I'm going to retool myself. I'm going to resynchronize myself with positosis. And when does it start and how does it start? It starts right here, right now. I remind myself, catch them when they're doing something right. Don't be looking for what they're doing wrong. And even when they are doing something that maybe I don't think is the exact perfect choice at that moment, to also in that moment embrace their choices and their decisions and find what's good about it. So as we wrap up here, as we're getting close to the 11-minute mark, I always put something out there, a suggestion, an opportunity, a homework assignment. Yeah, that's right. I'm teacher Chris Toledo. I'm going to give out a homework assignment for you out there. Part of how we train and retrain our brain to scan for the positive first is to have problems, something that is perceived as a problem, and start to resolve it in our mind and start to see what's good about that situation. So I encourage you that are out there, hit me up. Send me a situation that in your mind is just terrible. It's not that good. And I'm gonna get back with you. I'm gonna choose 10 of them. I'm gonna choose 10 of your questions and your responses, and I'm gonna twist it around how positosis is. I'm gonna get whatever that issue is. I'm gonna put it up in the jet stream of positosis. And it's just a practice. It's just like if you're a basketball player, you got to know that you're gonna shoot free throws once in a while. So you got to practice your free throws. You might not hit 100%. You might not hit 100% of your free throws, but you might if you practice. If you don't practice, you might hit 1 out of 10 if you're lucky. If you practice, and especially if you practice with good technique, you can bust it up to hitting 7 out of 10. 70%, that's dope. 8 out of 10. Some days you're going to go 10 for 10. That's how you do it. Positosis is a talent. It's a skill that you and anybody and everybody can acquire, get better at. All it takes is practice. So hit me up. Let me know. Give me some questions. Give me some hard questions. And I'll choose between 8 and 10 of them. And if yours gets chosen, that's dope. That's pretty awesome. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, this has been an honor. It's been a pleasure. Thank you for chilling with me on my little quick hitters. This thing is rolling. You can feel the momentum building. And I hope that you can feel the momentum building in your life as well, too. My name is Chris Toledo. Once again, shout out to my sponsor for this episode, O'Reilly's. Anything's up with the hoopty, with your ride, they got you covered. And when you go into your local O'Reilly shop, tell them that CT Chris Toledo, Mr. Jiggy Fly, say, yo, what's up? Ladies and gentlemen, have an awesome rest of your day, awesome rest of your night. Do what you got to do, and we'll see you the next time.